Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Transit Advisory Committee, like to call it to order. Need approval of the minutes from our last meeting on 1/18. I have a first.
I move to approve.
First, how about a second?
I'll second. Whatever.
First and a second. So topics of discussion today are free rides for veterans. I know that was a topic that the city council was interested in. They were gonna, were you able to talk about that, Joe?
That's going to be in front of the council for the February 21st meeting.
Okay, so we'll table that then until we hear from them. We do have some time. And then we still need to have some discussion about an age for children to pay the fee for that and how many children a parent can bring. So I don't know if the committee has had any time to think about what we feel would be best. I know with Heartland, we charge a lower fare for anyone that's not school age. We charge $1 for that. And then it's a full price for anyone over school age. So I don't know if that's something you want to continue with the city route. So, and, if you're a parent, you can bring a child along for free because obviously, a small child can't get himself buckled and in the bus. So,
Has there been discussion of fees in general?
for the Herman Express, you mean?
Well, yes.
It's $1. It'll be $1 per ride.
Okay.
So, and that'll start April 1st.
Yeah. Okay, so that hasn't changed any.
No.
So we're talking about some.
Children, yeah. So, I would think that, if we continue with what we do with the Heartland Express, we, have, the fare is the fare for, school-age children, and then once, smaller children, it's half price, or $1, sorry. So we have some daycares that take kids to swimming pools and parks. We charge them $1 per child. And then the rider, the daycare provider goes for free. So, and that'd be the same with a mom and a small baby. We charge for the mom, but not the baby, because they're responsible for taking care of, getting them in the bus and buckling them and everything. So,
We have to go easy on the daycare people.
right,
Enough financial trouble without us adding to them.
right. So, if we'd want to do that for Herman, then would we charge 50 cents per child and the daycare mom goes for free? And then if, would that be the same for a mother with 3 or 4 children? I mean, I think we'd want to make it consistent. Not sure how the committee feels about that,
What do we see for child usage?
I don't think she's had a lot of children right now. I'm kind of foreseeing that to happen more in the summer. Yeah, because I think that with the cold weather, I don't think daycares and people with small children are getting out too much. We don't have a huge ridership on our Heartland bus with small children. It's mostly mothers going to work and taking kids to a daycare. Dropping them off, and then we take them on to work. So,
And we're dealing strictly in cash, or there's no tokens and that
Right.
kind of thing, so.
right.
The dollar is convenient.
Right, it is. Yeah, so if somebody was coming on with 5 children, it'd be $250, they just have to have some change, but, as long as they knew that, and if they were doing a round trip, they could just throw in a 5, if they,
Yeah, I think I would like to see a reduced rate for kids,
okay,
that half like you're doing in Heartland, it's reasonable, sounds reasonable to me.
okay.
Would that be for all kids, or it's just,
Well, I would say I
Younger
would go
than
along
school
with
age.
what your current
Okay.
of
School age
school
would
age.
still be $1, and then under school age would be 50 cents, right? Is that what you're?
Yeah, that's
You'd
what
be
you're
okay.
doing at Heartland
Right,
now.
yep, mm-hmm,
And that's up to 18 then.
right, yeah, Well, of course, at school age doesn't matter, because with Herman, everything is $1, no matter your age. So, yeah, so as long as you're in school, it'd be $1. At school age and up, it'd be $1. You know, so if that's the wishes of the committee, do we want to vote on it, or do you want to just,
We probably should have some action on it, I would imagine. I'm just trying to think the whole thing through here and to see if there's any other alternative there, but
and we do have another month too. I mean, we aren't going to be starting till charging fares until till April. So we could wait until the next meeting if you guys maybe want to have some more discussion with maybe some constituents, or
So it's April 1st.
April 1st will be the
So we
charge date.
got one more meeting.
has Chris had a chance to discuss this?
We haven't discussed this one, but I think, just thinking out loud here is if we just follow what Heartland currently does, I think that would make the most sense.
Yeah, it'd be the
Yeah.
least,
Confusing.
it'd be least confusing for the drivers.
That
you
way,
know.
if you have a 12-year-old kid who's using it, they're paying the same rate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of would be nice to have a maximum, charge for 2 kids, and if you have 3, that third one rides free.
As long as they're supervised.
Right,
Maybe.
right.
Yeah, so like a young mother getting on with 3 children, we charge for 2 of them, and then just let the third one ride for free. Is that kind of,
Yeah, how they do with health insurance, a lot of, you get charged up to a maximum number of
Mhm.
people in your family.
yeah, and it might help with ridership too, if a young mother knows that she can ride the bus for, with her 3 children and her for $1, for $1, it'd be pretty reasonable.
They got enough expense without us adding to it.
And we can always, in 2023, we're only at a 5% match, so it's not going to be like a deal breaker for, and we can revisit this, in future
it goes.
meetings too, so.
So I'll move to have the dollar rate for school-age kids and up, and under at 50 cents, and maximum charge for children at 2 per trip.
Okay, so we have a first,
Second.
first and a second. We want to do a voice vote, or do we, all in favor say aye?
I
Aye.
All in opposed say nay. Motion passes. And then we were talking about the bus route during Bachfest. We're a little concerned about it, just because of, but I think in visiting more about it, Sarah, who drives the bus mostly, is actually going to drive that day. And I think we're ending soon enough where I think we're not going to get a lot of folks, that are going to be too rowdy on the bus. I think we're going to be okay. Probably a traffic thing is more of an issue, downtown, and then down by the old Target and Hy-Vee, that could get a little hairy. But again, like I say, I think we're ending soon enough where we're not getting people that are coming out of Bachfest where they're going to be rowdy and want rides. So we are going to make everybody that gets on the bus so seated and belted. We're not going to allow people to stand if we do get an absorbent amount of people that want to go downtown, and because we can deviate to the Target. It's kind of right on our way. We can just pull off there and just drop them off
Or if
at the
a
little
group-
cutout.
group comes out of Best Western, when we're
Right.
at Hy-Vee.
Yeah. So
When you run out of belts, you're gonna just
yeah,
pull
we're not
away.
going to allow
It's
people
time to
just
go.
to stand. So
Don't want you standing.
right. Just want the committee to be aware of that. Like I say, we're running from 10 to 2. So again, I don't think we're going to end up with a lot of.
I think it's reasonable. We're not there to be providing transportation for that. So,
Right.
if we stay within our realm of what we are trying to accomplish, I think
Right.
we should stick with belt.
Right. Okay. Then the ridership for mid-January for January and February, I passed those out, as you can see.
Mr. Chair, can I just interrupt 1 second? I
Sure.
just want to verify on the child ridership, did we set a cap amounts in your motion?
I
Scott?
think you said two,
Two
right?
children.
Children, okay. Thank you.
Thanks for the clarification, Joe. So as you can see, the riders for January, were 296 people. Again, these numbers seem to be, quite large, or quite, starting out in a winter time, I think we're quite surprised by this. And already in February, halfway through the month, we're at 200. That number is a little skewed because one day 12 ladies got on at Cashwise that swim together and wanted to see what the bus was going to be like. So they rode the entire route. So
Where are we at in February?
200. So if that would continue, it'd be at 400. But again, the number's a little skewed with those 12 gals that got on. But I guess that's kind of what I encourage people to do is just to get on the bus and ride when I
Feel of it.
get a feel of it. And I've asked people to do that. And the one gal did get on and she rode the entire route and she told me it was way too long. I said, well, at some point you would get off the bus. You wouldn't stay on the bus. So, and she agreed with me. She said, yeah, you're probably right. So,
Well, she just wants to ride.
right. Yeah. She's bored and she just wants to ride. And that's,
We've heard that with Heartland.
right.
They just
Yep, people
want to
wanna-
get away and
Yeah.
ride somewhere.
Our ridership from 7 to 8 and from 5 to 6 has been extremely low. And our Saturday hours are a little lower than what we'd like, but, again, we're pretty new yet, so I'm not too concerned because we did just start that in January. So just wanted to make you guys aware that the 7 to 8 and the 5 to 6 ridership and Saturday hours are most Saturdays we're about 4 or 5 riders. And I'd like to see that, I kind of thought that would be a lot higher, to be honest with
Is
you.
it well publicized?
I don't know. I mean, we did put an ad in the community paper, the visitor guide, and then we also did a large ad in the Progress edition that'll be coming out for just Herman. So, and that'll be a colored ad. So, hopefully, we'll be able to, and maybe we need to do a little bit more advertising with it.
It's going to take time.
These
It's gonna
numbers are
take
higher than I expected.
What's that?
These numbers are higher than I expected.
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's just those 2 hours of the day are really low. But again, people aren't maybe quite aware that we're starting that early because we didn't start out that way, so.
I think we got to wait a while.
Right. Oh, definitely, yeah. I'm not telling you we want to cut back. I just want to,
What are the numbers on the far right side?
Those are the numbers for the day.
Daily mileage.
The daily mileage.
Okay.
So the 159 on February 1st is how many miles that bus drove that day.
Okay.
So, and as you can see, February 14th, we had to do a bus change. That's why that number is so low. And then the February 11th is the same thing.
Saturday.
That's a Saturday, right? Good point. So. Okay. Then Sarah, we always ask Sarah to kind of come up with some things that she's on the route, more than just about any of us. Herman Heights and the MLC stop, I think we brought this up last time about plowing that, 2 passes through the parking lot for the ability to circle through instead of backing up and driving. I'm not sure, Joe, if you've had a chance to visit with the plow trucks or.
I can't track them, but I can remind the city manager to have that discussion.
Okay, sounds good. Then there's Stonebridge Drive, which is the new drive that's behind Ridgeway and 23rd. We got a lady that asked us not to drive on that. And it just kind of got us thinking, well, is there other parts of the city that someone could call and say, well, I don't want you on my street? It is a public street. Stonebridge Drive isn't fully paved yet, so we're really kind of telling the drivers we don't want that one to.
Where's this at?
That's the one behind Ridgeway. So it's Stonebridge, and then what's the one behind that, Nate?
Hoffman.
Huffman. So we've been taking Huffman. Sometimes the driver will deviate and go on Stonebridge. That's not fully paved yet, but,
No.
so we've kind of asked the drivers to go on Huffman, but at some point, Stonebridge might be an option for us, you know. I'm just wondering, at what point when people call and ask us not to go on a road, is that their right, or is that,
No, it's a public street.
it's a public street, yeah.
No different than me going and driving on it.
Right, right. So just wanted to make you aware that in case, you know, the city would get a call, you know, complaining that we're on her street, that, you know, that we are public transportation.
There's only 3 houses on that
Right.
by a 2-block stretch.
Yeah. So, but we are asking the drivers to go on Huffman just because it is fully paved. So
Stonebridge is paved,
it is not.
not
It's,
at all.
It would be.
Gravel.
it's some
There's a-
paved.
There's a missing section from where the county's Boundary Street project left off, because they paved a portion of that on the project. There's maybe 100 feet that's still
Yeah.
gravel.
Oh, and that's gravel. The rest is paved.
Paved, yeah. So sometimes the drivers have deviated and turned on that road.
It's a case of them trying to save a few seconds if they're running behind.
Yeah, because Huffman's like another block and a half down, right? About,
It's a little out of the way.
yeah. So at some point, we may be using Stonebridge, but like I say, we did get a call and asking us not to use that. So we accommodated, or we've asked the drivers to stay on Huffman, but,
Yeah, I don't, yeah, it's public street.
okay.
You
So
guys are
just so
fully-
you're aware that if somebody
Fully able
calls.
to use it.
Actually, the safety factor probably would be Stonebridge versus down Huffman. There's a lot more houses through Huffman Street there.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And then, again, these are, again, things from Sarah. At some point, you know, we're gonna be placing benches along the route, and she's just asking, if, you know, in the meantime, if we could think about doing something at Emerson Union Stop. I just wanted to kind of have it on the radar, just because, I think a lot of people from like the library and that walk up to Emerson, and people from the courthouse have walked there. So it's really not just the Emerson folks that are using that stop. So I think at some point, we maybe can invest in something, you know,
It's
with,
the first
a
bench
simple-
we need.
right. When we start placing benches, right, that's, so,
Are we thinking of donated benches?
you know, I'm not real sure where, you know, where that piece would be at. I know there's some state dollars that we could tap into to get some benches and bus type shelters.
Some of the service clubs really like to be able to donate toward things like that.
Oh,
Optimus for sure.
that would be maybe something we could look at.
Too.
Of course, I think we'd need to get Emerson's blessing before we placed anything there because it's their property. You know, but,
We'll keep it in mind.
we'll keep it in mind, and then Sarah brought up, and I never even thought about the St. Patty's Day Parade is on a Friday, and our 2 downtown stops obviously be affected. So she's saying that we'll probably have to go down to German for that 1 hour on the St. Patty's Day, to avoid the parade, so, just so everyone's aware of that. And then, again, another winter issue, cleaning out, making a path to the bus at certain stops such as Linderhof and Hillside, and then Oakwood Estates, Highland Regency, and Ridgeway and 23rd. I think those are discussions we're gonna have to really think about as we move forward, because, you know, right now without any benches or anything, you know, it's really kind of it makes it tough. I mean, the sign is there, but you know, if there's a big pile of snow there, it makes it difficult for people. I think a lot of people would just stand like near the driveway if they were gonna hop on the bus. But, you know, at some point, again, these are things we need to think about in the future, how we wanna move forward with that. And I know we had those discussions, Joe, with you and Chris about before we started, what we were gonna do with that, so.
It's an unusual winter.
Right,
It's been nasty
right,
amounts of
A
snow.
lot of snow early.
early.
Stayed around.
Yeah. And, you know, it's only gonna be a problem for, you know, 4 or 5 months a year, you know.
At the most.
at the most, you know, which is a good part of the year, but, but I, you know, again, I just want, the committee to be aware that, you know, these are things that were being brought up and, you know, and those are discussions, like I say, we'll have to continue, as we move forward with this, so.
And I think that'll be easier to do once we have permanent stops with
Right.
permanent infrastructure. so,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly, because then I think we'll have some sort of a concrete pad there at least where, you know, it's kind of hard to shovel grass right now, so,
Right.
so that's not gonna be too easy. That's kind of basically what we have for you today. Is there any, further discussion? Does anyone have any issues they want to bring up or have any?
Have we distributed the insulated bags or?
We have been, yep. We've been giving one a person, one a customer, because they're quite expensive and we didn't want to, you know. So yeah, we are passing them out.
How's our budget for that whole promotion thing?
So we ended that with her, and we spent just about all the $10,000 that we had allotted for that. So she made sure that, you know, she was sending us, giving us things that we could use in the future. We have a part-time dispatcher, Christy, that has a marketing degree actually, and so she's kind of taken over a lot of that. And so any revisions we'll need to do to our pamphlets and things, Christy will be able to do that. She'll have the, she has the, all the tools that they gave us. And updating that QR code on the bag and on our pamphlets. We're getting a program that she'll be able to do that with.
Lucky
Yeah,
find.
we were very lucky, and she's more than excited. It makes her job. And she's in charge of our Facebook page too.
Their
so.
education.
Using her education, exactly, yeah.
Great.
So it was a good deal, and I know Human Services have tapped into her to do some things for them too, so. Any further discussion? Let's go ahead and pick our next meeting. If we stay with the same time frame, we're on a Wednesday, be March 15th.
Mr. Chair, I have 2 bid openings in
Oh.
council chambers that morning.
Okay.
So I've already reserved the room, so
For that date,
for
okay,
that date, yeah.
okay. So then the next one would be March 22nd. I did look at a calendar and I know
You
Barb,
gone?
you'll be gone. Barb has meetings that day too, so that wasn't really a good date for her.
Otherwise, we could go the 8th. I believe it would be open as well.
The 8th would be an option for you, okay?
April or March?
March. I think we need to meet in March because we're gonna be starting the fairs, and we'll have some decisions to make about that. Does anyone have any objection to March 8th?
I mean, we could still do the 15th. It'd have to be pushed
later
back to noon or 9 o'clock.
Okay. Would anyone be opposed to the 15th at 9?
I like 12.
You like the noon?
I would rather do the noon, but I go either way.
Then I can be a volunteer all morning,
Oh, okay.
and 8 is their busiest time for me.
Sure.
So,
Does noon work then for everyone?
I would imagine it will, and if, I'll send the date up to Lisa, and if
Or
it doesn't,
1
she'll
o'clock,
let
is
me
that?
know.
maybe-
Noon should be just fine, I think, so.
We're always out of here within the half
Yeah,
hour or so,
yeah,
so it's.
right.
Okay, we'll go ahead and say noon on the 15th then. Does that work for everybody? So
on
far?
the
And we can
15th.
We can always change it if we need to.
Okay.
Okay, and with that, I'll call the meeting adjourned. Do you have a first
I'll make a motion.
and a second? Thank you, everybody. Calls it.
Did you get to make any seconds this morning?
Who made it first?
She made a first.
Oh, okay.